Welcome to Face the State. I'm Ariana Bennett. Thank you for joining us. Well, the massive industrial center just east of Reno is most famous for housing Tesla's Gigafactory. But in 2018, the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center is making some big moves that go far beyond batteries. Paul Nelson shows us what we can expect.
The Tahoe Reno Industrial Center is dominated by trucking, warehouses, manufacturing, and technology. And the next project could be a 200-acre town center.
You're going to have your downtown in the center of TRI that's in the center of what I really consider the Northern Nevada trade area.
The project is still in the conceptual phase, but Gilman says businesses have already signed on to move in. Those companies haven't been announced yet, but it will include places to shop and eat.
Probably kind of an Asian flavor in a lot of it because Panasonic is there and hiring so many folks from Japan.
Gilman says this will be a modern and sophisticated development that includes at least 3 flagship hotels, along with the latest technologies for visitors, businessmen, and workers.
They're going to need the quality of life to hotel it and restaurant it and do the business they have to do in Tahoe Reno Industrial.
This man-made reservoir might not look like much right now, but the plan is to add a lot more water to it, turning it into a small lake that'll eventually be the centerpiece of the development.
Rather than just a reservoir behind a dam, it's actually going to be a beautification project, and there'll be fountains and streams and waterfalls.
It'll even have jogging and biking paths.
It's going to be a very beautiful emerald lake is what they call it.
Encore Commercial is planning the town center, adding new amenities to a growing industrial area.
They've been involved in some of the pristine projects in Las Vegas. Yeah, they are true production folks. They know how to put this thing together. And we're going to have a town center that will rival anywhere.
Covering Money Watch, Paul Nelson, Channel 2 News.
And now I've got Tri-Center Principal and Director Lance Gilman here to talk about all of that. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure, Ariana.
Okay.
Really nice to be here.
So it really wasn't long ago that was empty desert, first of all, but then, mostly big warehouses, some manufacturing out there. To go out there now, seeing all the change is pretty incredible.
It's epic in so many ways. You got to remember when Tesla got here about 3 years ago, there were already 130 companies out there. Walmart was there and PetSmart was there, U.S. Ordnance, 50 caliber machine guns, 1-800-Flowers, 1-800-Diapers, diapers and machine guns. It was all out. It was a fabulous park. And then Tesla arrived and we entered the world stage.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. So this whole development with the town center, with hotels, with retail and restaurant space, was this the original vision all along?
Not exactly. It certainly has grown, and you do that over 20 years. It's been about 20 years since we started. But with the Tesla, immediately following Tesla came Rob Roy and Switch, which is a dynamic company. We're probably going to have 10 million square feet of data storage. They're the largest in the globe. And following them came along Google, 1,210 acres, new campus park. They're going to settle. And then Chip Bowlby, if you know Chip, he's doing Rancho Hera. And he and his investors are out there. They got 800 acres, a new tech park, and now blockchains and their international headquarters. They're working with a company that is a nano products research and development group. They're going to put into about 1,200 acres of beautiful pine-filled valley. You wouldn't think there's pine trees out there, but there are. And so the tech center is really growing. The folks that are putting in research campuses that will bring in the kind of payrolls and the kind of young folks, the millennials. So it's been suggested to me, I've been told that we may be the second largest city in the state of Nevada very soon.
So when you say very soon, I want to give people an idea. Say fast forward 10 years, 20 years down the road. I know it's hard to predict the future, but paint me a picture of what you see it looking like.
I believe in 10 years it'll be very, very well built out. I think in 10 years. I think in 5 years you're going to see Tesla probably approaching 20 million feet and 12,000 employees. And I think that it will happen probably in the next 5 to 7. Switch thinks they're about 7 years out for 8 million feet, 5,000 employees. So I really have a 10-year window where I think we're going to graduate about 10 classes out of UNR. There's millions of dollars being pumped into the university by all these fine corporate folks, and we're going to see a lot of changes in 120 months.
Okay, does that vision include residential development, housing?
So yes, in Story County, we're, as a matter of fact, blockchains, as a part of their purchase, will be developing 4,000 housing units plus in an area called Painted Rock. And that'll be a blockchains community with homes that are, futuristic, high tech. It'll be a complete operating synergistic neighborhood, shopping centers and schools. They're going to be, I would project we're going to see a regional school system at Painted Rock. So that'll be the housing component that'll go along with TRI that'll be in Story County. But in the meantime, there's fabulous. I work with a developer who, as a matter of fact, down in Lyon County tonight, and he's in for approvals on 1,500 homes out at Stagecoach on Highway 50. So the entire Highway 50 corridor from Silver Springs to Dayton to Carson City is on the threshold of incredible development.
I think that the blockchain's purchases is pretty unbelievable too. It's really hard to even wrap your head around it because 64,000 acres, just numbers wise, is about the size of the entire city of Reno.
Yes.
So they have kind of unlimited potential out in that area. And can they do with it anything they want, or are there restrictions?
Well, so I can share with you, I'm under an NDA, non-disclosure agreements, but I can share some of the plans, if you will, for the future. Blockchains will, if you happen to go to the meeting yesterday where they had the seminars on blockchains, it's going to revolutionize the globe. It is going to be more impactful on you and I and everybody living in the globe than the internet. For example, it's everything we do, buying cars, leasing equipment, banking, escrows, everything will touch our lives on the blockchain. Well, at this point, we're going to have their corporate headquarters in Story County, Nevada, in TRI. And that headquarters will accommodate some research and development campuses where they'll bring in all these fine young minds that are going to develop all the software that it takes. But they want to showcase everything that they can that blockchains is capable of doing. So it'll be a blockchains residential community. It'll be a blockchains freeway commercial facility and community. It'll be a blockchains industrial park. It'll be a blockchains nano products research and development high-tech center. So what they're going to do is showcase really to the world the international headquarters of the blockchain development, and they're with their platform is the Ethereum platform, not Bitcoin, and that's a whole lot to learn, and it's pretty complicated.
Yeah.
But it's just fascinating to know what's coming to Nevada, northern Nevada, to our region.
What I'm envisioning, when you say all that, is like the big corporate campus that you see for Google or for Facebook, where they basically build their own little city that's all-encompassing, that basically the employees never need to leave. Is that kind of what we're talking about?
Tesla is 3,330 acres, 1,000 acres for Switch. Google is 1,210 acres. And blockchains is 67,125 acres. And they'll be doing a minimum of 5 high-tech components, all different, but all featuring the blockchains.
Yeah, I guess what I meant was
technology.
those companies' headquarters in California. So they've got basically cities for Google and Facebook, their whole like all-encompassing area. And the idea of something like that coming to northern Nevada, and I know that the future is now, but it's pretty unbelievable to think about the potential there for economic growth and jobs, because we're talking about good jobs too. These aren't low income.
Incredible jobs. We're talking about jobs that are going to be paying $25, $30 an hour minimum, starting with all of your retirement programs and 401ks and health, wonderful health programs. So we're going to see a job wage pressure in northern Nevada because the folks that are coming and over this next 10 years are going to really drive payrolls. And you and I talked about payroll. The power of payroll has been missed in the region. We're no longer, with TRI sitting in the middle, just between Tesla and Switch, there'll be approaching $1 billion in payroll going out to all of these communities, Fernley, Fallon, Yerington, Story County, Reno, Sparks. But we're no longer a single city trade area. We are the northern Nevada region. And it's going to take the entire region, focused, visible, building, visionaries. There's going to be a lot of pressures on every single community, but the opportunities are incredible.
Yeah, now I do want to talk about, with all of this development necessarily comes some growing pains, and largely that's in figuring out where to put all of these people and how to move them efficiently.
Yes.
Because right now, most of the people who work in the Tri-Center commute from Reno, and it causes a pretty big traffic jam. So do you have plans for addressing that in the future?
Well, actually, I don't specifically, but I can tell you that NDOT does. I was just back at the White House recently and had the opportunity to meet with all of the, or many of the directors of the federal agencies, and one of them was DOT, Department of Transportation. And so we talked specifically about Northern Nevada and some of these pressures. And so I'll give you kind of a sidelight, and the president just mentioned it in his State of the Union address. But let's say, for example, we want to see the spaghetti bowl improved. Right now and in the past, it's taken 10 years just to get a NEPA permit to improve it before you can start construction. Or if we want to redo I-80, it would take 10 years to get a NEPA permit. And our community right now is growing today. We need those improvements next year. And so one of the things that I had the opportunity to share back there with the vice president and the folks from DOT is that we need to visit NEPA permits so that our nation can respond to the needs of the growth of this improving economy that we're seeing all over the nation. NEPA permits need to change, and I just love that. I'm sure I had nothing to do with it, but I love the fact that the president focused on that and that they're planning to try to pull that back to a 1 to 2 year window of approvals for all of our. So then if you look at TRI, it sits in the middle, I-80 on the north, Highway 50 on the south, 395 over on the west, 95A. So we are circled with a wonderful, and then of course we just finished USA Parkway last year, which goes down to Highway 50. So we have a transportation system that works, and we've really split the entire regional area. Again, think regional, not one community like Reno or Sparks. Regionally, we've quartered it. So you've got south and on the east side and on the west side and north. And so really we're going to see all these communities feeding in on these already existing, which will lessen the impacts. But one of the things I share, and probably I find myself in trouble over this, but you talk about everybody's worried about the traffic problems of Reno today. That's because you grew up here. But if you go to San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, that's traffic problems. We don't even know. We haven't even the tip of the iceberg. So are there traffic problems? No, not really comparison-wise.
Yeah, I think that point lands for sure. I think it is all relative to what we're used to. It's the ongoing joke that, in Reno you should be able to get everywhere within 7 minutes. No longer the case, but some things just have to change.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just about out of time, but is there anything in particular that you'd like to share with viewers, anything that I didn't ask you about?
Well, there are so many things we could talk about, but I suppose what I'd like to leave you with is I challenge all of the communities of the Northern Nevada region, and I really want us to look at ourselves regionally. It's no longer one impact to one city. And if all of the communities will consider the fact that right now there's a bird nest on the ground, all of these companies are here. They have paid cash for their land. They are developing, and we are going to see incredible financial growth and opportunity. Thank God for our governor. Shout out to Sandoval and GoEd and all the folks that are making these things happen. We only have it to lose. And our communities need to learn what Story County learned a long time ago that made this the most unusual opportunity in America. An industrial park that is just incredible up here in Northern Nevada. The communities around need to embrace the same vision, and they need to get busy because they only have it to lose.
So that means streamlining permitting, simplifying
Yes.
the process, cutting the red tape, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. Deregulation and a spirit and a desire to prosper, to move the freight. These companies, the watchword is they don't want to have scheduling risk. If they're going to come in and invest huge quantities in our community, they don't want to see scheduling risk. And scheduling risk starts at a planning commission that takes months after months after months to approve a project. Right. Can't happen if we want to have that level of prosperity.
Okay, Lance, thank you so much for your time. I sure appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Okay, well, coming up on Face the State, parenting is hard enough. But when your child has special health care needs, it can be overwhelming. I'll learn about a local resource working to help parents right after the break.